Hey everybody, this is Miss Weaver, and this is the section 5.4 video, part 1. Okay, in this first video, we're really just going to talk about the basic idea of conditional probabilities, and then we'll actually do some examples and whatnot in the second video. Alright, so once again, here's our easel lens, and again with the formulas, we're not really focusing on memorizing those formulas, so just knowing that they exist. Potentially, if you really need it, having the probability of finding a probability of B given A, when we talk about this conditional probability, or if you need that somehow as a formula. But honestly, I don't even use the formula, and I know it. But you should be able to just kind of intuitively go through and say, okay, if I draw a card from a deck, let's just say we're drawing the cards, 3 cards from a deck of cards. If I draw a card, then I've changed things. What's changed? Well, it depends on what card I drew. If I drew a red card, then there's one less red card, there's one less card. If I drew a spade, there's one less spade, there's one less card. So I just want to make sure that I really do understand that, that when I make something like that without replacement, what does that dependent event look like? So those are the things that we want to focus on. Of course, the formulas are not, but the definitions, we do want to know what all the words mean so that when we hear them again, of course, they ring true. All right, so this chapter starts out with the idea of conditional probabilities, and let's take a look at what this means. We've kind of already talked about it a little bit in the previous video for section 5.3, because I had to define an independent event, and I gave you an example of what a dependent event might look like, just for comparison's sake. And so let's say for us, we have this bag of marbles, and I'm going to draw marbles, but I'm not going to put them back. And so I might take one of these blue marbles, and let me see if I can kind of simulate this with my pen. So let's say I get one of these blue marbles, which means, of course, I'm not going to have a blue marble in the bag anymore. And so I want to maybe make one of these marbles go away. And so I'm going to do that by just erasing this marble. So there we go. So I've drawn this blue marble, and before I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 marbles in the bag. So I've got a bag of 10 marbles. Of course, I have some marbles that have stripes on them, some that don't, some that are blue, red, yellow, green, and purple. So I've got different colors. All these things matter, and this individual probability that I have, so let's see, we've got 10 marbles. We're going to draw 2 without replacement. And let's say that the first one is a solid blue. There we go. And so that's going to give us a few options of probabilities that we could find, conditional probabilities. So now, what is the probability of the second marble being, and then I'm actually going to do a couple. So what's the probability that the second marble is blue? And then what's the probability that the second marble is solid? What's the probability that the second marble is striped. And what's the probability that the second marble is green? Just another color that's not blue. So to start with, at the beginning, of course, probability of getting a blue marble. Before I took that out, would have been, were there 3 out of 10. The probability of getting a solid marble, or no stripe, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 10. Probability of getting one with stripes, 4 out of 10. And the probability of getting a green, of course I don't have a lot of room here. I'll slide those up a little bit. So probability of getting a green would be 2 out of 10. And so some of these will, well, all of these will change if I keep that blue marble out, because there are no longer 10 marbles in the bag. And that's the biggest change that will always happen, regardless of what's going on, if you take that marble out without, and leave it without replacing it, and then draw another one. So all of these 4 that I've got written down are going to be out of 9, because there are 9 marbles left. Now, as far as the blues concerned, well, there were 3 blues, but now there are only 2. So my probability changes to 2 out of 9. Solid marbles, well, there's 1 less solid marble because I took a solid marble out. Now there are only 5 solid marbles out of 9. My number of striped marbles did not change. There are still 4 striped marbles in the bag, but, like I said, there are only 9 marbles left in the bag, so instead of 4 out of 10, it's now 4 out of 9. And the probability of getting a green marble, well, I still have 2 green marbles in the bag, but again, out of 9 marbles. So that's the idea of conditional probability. So this, I didn't really write these all correctly. This should be, and I'll have to use abbreviations. So this should be the probability of getting, well, it's not letting me erase. I'll have to use white. So this should be the probability of getting a blue given I drew a blue. And yay, I've got 2 S words. We'll say SO and ST. So what's the probability of me getting a solid given it was a blue? What's the probability of me getting a stripe given I drew a blue? And then one more change. Instead of green, we will say G given B. So that's our conditional probability. So what's the probability? Given this thing has happened, given I drew a blue marble, what are these other probabilities? And we could have done all of these. We could have done red, purple, yellow, whatever different ways that we can distinguish. Primary color. What's the probability of getting a primary color given I drew a blue out? Well, blue's a primary color, red, yellow, blue. So that can change things. That's our conditional probability.